4 days riding trails I've never seen, visiting a city I've not been to before, staying at Kentucky Dam Village State Resort Park, eating well, and sleeping like a baby. What a great way to greet my 68th year. For my birthday trip this year, I decided to go ride trails I'd never been on at Land Between the Lakes. Last year we went to Griffin Bike Park in Terre Haute for my birthday, and we thought of going there again. But I have a bike on order with a dealer in Terre Haute, and it wouldn't be in until soon after my birthday. Rather than visit Terre Haute twice in a few weeks, I opted for this trip. Last time I was at Land Between the Lakes for my birthday was 2015. I considered going back and riding the canal loop again, but I decided to focus on area trails I'd never ridden. I wanted to see what they were like and get some adventure and novelty from my rides. I also do new and unfamiliar things like this to reduce age-related cognitive decline. I'm certainly not fluent in my knowledge of the canal loop or the North-South Trail, but I am more familiar with trails I've ridden 30 times over the years than I am with trails I've never ridden. The first new trail was Lee S. Jones County Park in Eddyville, Kentucky. I rode here on our way down on Wednesday. It's a fun trail, well designed and well signed, which is a good thing. It hadn't had enough use to burn in, and I struggled to follow the trail under the fallen leaves. I eventually returned to the truck with no confidence I'd seen much of the trail and wishing I could ride longer. My wife said she'd hiked the Green Trail and found it easy to follow. Because the Green Trail is nearest the parking lot, it gets the most use and it was much easier to navigate. It was also a lot of fun. I found it puzzling that blazes for the Blue Trail ran in the creek bed. It made for a fun and challenging ride, but this bit of trash from a high water event showed that these sections would be underwater at times. I like the trails here and recommend riding them, but probably with the help of a guide with local knowledge. We checked into Kentucky Dam Village State Resort Park and found our room comfortable, the staff friendly, and the lobby a nice place to do a bit of work. Rain was predicted for Thursday morning, so we drove the 20 minutes or so into Paducah. I went to Planet Fitness while my wife shopped nearby stores. She got me this combination flashlight bike light for my birthday. After that, we drove to the Lowertown Arts District. Neither of us had ever been to Paducah, but I'd wanted to visit ever since the city announced plans to become a major art hub some years ago. Maybe it was the dreary weather, maybe it was the time of year, but the area seemed subdued, as if trying to catch its breath after the tourist season waned. We had a good time checking out the history and the amazing architecture. Back at the park, I was eager to ride the Beckett Memorial Trail, but I wasn't confident I could do so. We got more rain than predicted, and it lasted later in the day, too. I walked some of the trail and found it firm and ready to ride. I rode the whole thing and never saw a speck of mud. This is a really fun trail. Not much elevation to work with, but if you love whoops the way I do, this is your place. There were hundreds of them, some only a few feet deep, and several that I couldn't see over when standing at the bottom. The trail runs alongside Kentucky Lake in many places, and the views are outstanding. I didn't shoot as much video as I would have liked. The late start due to rain, my unfamiliarity with the trail, and the early and sudden dusk of November kept me pushing to get back to the truck while I still had daylight. If I'd had batteries for the bike light my wife bought me, I'd have tucked that into a pocket and taken more time on the trail. My advice for riding the Beckett Trail is to enjoy for what it is. If you need big climbs and raucous descents, you'll be disappointed. But if you enjoy a well-conceived trail with lots of clever design features, you'll enjoy riding here. On Friday, I tried to ride the Livingston County trails, but a steady rain moved in soon after I started. I managed enough miles before the rain came to know I want to come back. This is a fun system with a little bike park at the parking lot. My advice here is to take one of two approaches, and both stem from the high density of trails. One is to have Trailforks or MTB project or a similar app to guide you around. There are too many trails with too little signage to successfully navigate this system on your own. I used Trailforks to get back to the truck using a paved access road. The trails were starting to get soft from the rain. Besides, I didn't want to find myself far from the truck with hypothermia. My second recommendation is to just chuck it and ride. I adopted this approach when I rode the White Oak Mountain Trails at Southern Adventist University in April 2016. At first I kept stopping to study the signs and try to figure out where I was. I quickly abandoned that approach and just rode wherever the trail went. I knew the general direction I had to go to get back to the truck, and that was enough. That would work here, too. Friday was my birthday, and my shortened ride time put us at Patti's 1880s settlement much earlier than expected. The time of day and the icky weather thinned the crowds, and we were able to get a table for lunch with only a 20-minute wait. They served dinner all day, and I had salmon for my birthday meal, followed up by a piece of their famous meringue pie. We strolled around a bit before and after lunch, but much less than we have in the past when we've had more agreeable weather. I forget how much we enjoy Patti's until we're on the grounds again, and it was good to be back. After offering carry-out only due to COVID, the park restaurant was going to start offering dine-in for breakfast on Saturday, the day we were leaving. But an archaeology group had nearly filled the hotel, and it was clear that breakfast was going to take a lot of time, so we checked out and got on the road. My plan was to stop by Rough River Lake and ride the trails there on the way home. A couple of guys who saw my posts on Facebook suggested I ride the Grapevine Trail in Madisonville, Kentucky. Because we had checked out early and grabbed coffee at a convenience store, I figured I had time to hit Grapevine first and then Rough River later. That strategy saved the day. When we arrived at Rough River in mid-afternoon, we found the campgrounds closed, and therefore we had no access to parking for the trails. The campground host trailer was still there. I knocked, hoping they could offer an alternative parking location, but I got no response. My advice for riding the trails at Rough River is to first confirm you'll have access to them. Although Rough River turned out to be a no-go, my morning ride at Grapevine was a riot. A local told me the trail had been in place in some form since the 70s, but that a trail crew had been hired to come in and rework things the year before. Grapevine is super fun and flowy, with whoops and berms and jumps all over. The trail is directional, depending on the day of the week. I was there on Saturday, so I rode it counterclockwise. The flow was nearly perfect, and I'm pretty sure that would be true going the other direction too. There are a few places where options exist to optimize the ride for that day's direction of travel. Preserving directional travel is easy here. Unlike some other directional trails I've ridden, Grapevine is not plagued by countless intersections and social trails without signage to guide the rider. There is one loop. That's it. For the same reason, there's no need for a bunch of blazes. At first I was concerned I wouldn't be able to follow the trail with so few markers, but that proved unfounded. Navigation was a cinch. My recommendation for Grapevine is to schedule at least 2 days so you can ride it in both directions. I'm eager to go back and do just that. So that's it. I had a wonderful trip. It was a great way to turn 68. My thanks to all the gracious Kentuckians who made our trip so enjoyable, and to all those who took time to wish me happy birthday by phone or on social media. Mostly, my thanks to my wife, the best travel companion and life partner a guy could ask for. I'm Rich Reese, and I'll see you out there.